Welcome to my Gap and Go video. Earnings season is around the corner, and I just want to point out about 10 stocks that qualified for my earnings gap, or it doesn't have to be necessarily be earnings. It could be a new partnership, a contract, or a FDA approval, something that causes an event for a stock to go up more than 10% with more than 100% above the average daily volume, like Glowworm Corning did here on July 29th. It was up 12% with 261% above the average daily volume. And then it just continued higher. So if you missed this day, this bar, this event that had a high of 62.98 and a low of 57.93, if you missed that day, there's still opportunities as it pulled back to its five on August 1st with a low of 61.44. You can see the five is 61.03. You know, and it pulled back again on this day, August 20th, down to 63.37. But it's been surfing its five the entire time. And now earnings are coming up here at the end of the month for Corning. Yeah, Friday it had like everything else, had a little bit of a hiccup down nearly 5%, but you can see it's, 82.98 now, whereas the gap day was 62.98 was the high. So stocks that gap up on earnings typically do it more than once. They're called serial gappers. And, there's a reason for it, a new product or something selling well. The company is managing, their inventory properly and be able to sandbag guidance and then beat guidance by a wide margin and the stock gaps up. My criteria is 10% move higher on more than 100% above average daily volume. So Corning certainly qualifies. There you can see it breaking out of the base, and it was up, 12% on the week, breaking out of that nice base there, a stage one base out of the after the liberation in April. So Corning is definitely one. I'm just going to go through about 10 of them. Like I said, they don't all have to be, earnings gaps, but many of them are. Some are, contracts or FDA approvals. And laser is another one that gapped out of a base here. It's kind of like a high tight flag type pattern here where it gapped up 28% with 209% above the 50-day average volume. Here you can see it, the high tight flag pattern, which a lot of them were working, have been working. We'll see if that continues. Earnings season is, dynamic moves happen during earnings season. But there's your high tight flag, and then there's your move higher on laser, which is in light. Yeah, 30% move on the week. Now it's moved up higher and formed another flag pattern. So one to watch as we head into earnings season. This one reports the day before Halloween. Fix, this is one that's just been a monster for a long time. Yeah, I'm sorry I missed this one. I actually owned it for a little while back around 200, $250 here. It was, yeah, back in this base here. Even before that, this base maybe here. I don't know. Yeah, I think it was back here in 23, $150. Yeah, then it formed another base. Then you had the tariff tantrum, and then man, this thing's been off to the races. Look at these 3 weeks tight, 3 weeks tight, add-on buy point, right? For comfort systems. But most recently, they gapped out of a base on July 25. A 22% move with 250% above average daily volume, kind of traded sideways for a little bit, giving you a chance to get in, pull back to the 21, and it's just been surfing the 21 ever since. Like the gap day, the low was 648, the high was, call it 700, and now it's 816, so $116 from the high, even if you bought the high on the gap day. So this is why we pay attention. They're going to report on October 22, which is 11 days from today. This video is being made on Saturday, October 11th. So comfort systems definitely one to watch. That's definitely part of the data center build out play. So I think they're doing fairly well. ALAB, a semiconductor play, gapped up on August 6th. Strong move, nearly 29% with 220% above average daily volume. Now this one ran up to 200, got rejected, then pulled back. Then it went through 200 like poop through a goose and ran from this low here of 167 up to 262 in a very short period of time. It's a $95 gain, retreated back to the 50 for the first time since the breakout and started to move higher. But of course, on Friday, yesterday, everything got hammered, but ALAB still looks good and they're going to report on November 4. The next one I want to talk about is BWXT. This is an electrical power equipment, another data center play. This one gapped up and now has formed a base. I'm a sucker for a base, right? I don't like chasing extended stock. So this one pulled back the last couple of days. Maybe it'll pull back to the 21 if we get lucky, below that 189.25 buy point. But yeah, it made a big move on earnings on August 5. 242% above average daily volume and 18% move. Now it's formed a base. They're going to report November 3. So you got to write these ticker symbols and their earnings dates down. Life 360, this one's a serial gapper, gapped up May 13th, gapped on August 12th, 13% move with volume, and it's just been surfing its moving averages ever since. They don't report until November 18th. Now, there's a lot of these that I could show. I'm only picking like 10 because there's just, so many of them. This is Sterling, and this did not even break out of a base. It just popped August 5th. And I consider it, usually I want a 10% move, but I don't know, 9 with volume. 145% above average daily volume I'll take. And this is one just a big winner for a long, long time. Look at this lower left to upper right. Yeah, $23 back in when the bull market or the bear market ended at the lows there. And so it's been a huge winner. Sterling Infrastructure. And yeah, they're going to report November 10th. So this is all right in front of us here in the next 3, 4 weeks here. We're going to hear from these companies. We'll see if they can repeat, further, the past performance, if they can reduplicate this here going forward. This is a VSAT, VSAT up 31% with 300 above 300% above average daily volume on August 6th. They're going to report November 5, not confirmed yet, but this thing's consolidating in a base here. It made that high of 33.85 on August 28th. Now it's consolidating a pullback to the 50, found support and bounced. Yeah, I like it right there, right? 33.85. I'll take that all day long. PRIM, this is another one of these building heavy construction names. Broke out August 5. Wow, that was a popular day for breakouts. 17% move with 222% above average daily volume. You can see it's just been surfing the fives ever since. And it reports on November 10th. Ciena, a networking company. This one popped on earnings recently. September 4, yeah, 23% move with over 400% above average daily volume. Now it's surfing the five. That is a thing of beauty. They don't report till December. So, yeah, it's blue skies for Sienna. That looks fantastic. ABVX. Now these guys went up on not an earnings gap, but a FDA approval ran up, and even on the gap day was 71.35 was the high. It closed Friday 93.77. It ran up to 92.91, formed this little base here as it pulled back to the 21 and found support. I like it above 92.91, call it $93. Yeah, so FDA approval. I mean, this thing looks like just a thing of beauty right here. Obvious strength. You talk about high tide flags being rewarded and working. ABVX. I know people don't like drug stocks or biotech stocks, but what the heck? Cannot argue with that chart. Wolf, Terra Wolf had a deal with Google. I believe it was Google. I think NBIS had Microsoft and these guys had Google. So it ramped up 60% on August 14th. Yeah, with 450% above average daily volume, pulled back to the 21, found support, and just been a super strong stock ever since. And the last one, the solar plays are starting to perk up a little bit here. This one had what I would call, kind of a choppy cup with handle pattern here. As it cut out this base, carved out this base, had this bull wedge or handle type pattern, then it ran up and made another wedge pattern down like 5 days in a row. And oftentimes you see these shakeouts before the breakouts and the rip higher. So that's just something to pay attention to. See what it looks like on the, yeah, God, this is just one big base here. It looks like it's just emerging from the, we'll get the number on this here, 22.26, 21.77, so about $22. It's right there. Last week traded up to 21.08. Sunrun Energy Solar, yeah, they've been picking up. You wouldn't think so, but anyway, that's it for me. Thank you for watching. There's a lot of other ones I could select from, but I'm going to stop right there. At mcstockcharts.com, we never give up. Good luck this earnings season. It should be exciting.